welcome everyone on the internet. We welcome you to the teaching of the inner Christ. And our inspirational reading today is from one of our pink books, which is a series of books channeled through adult sensitives entitled The Brotherhood of the Followers of the Present Jesus. And this one is called Jesus' Love. And the passage that I'm going to read from is on page 69. And Jesus says, "Dear ones who read these words, who hear these thoughts, for you have read not only with the eyes, but with the ears of your souls. There has come to you with the words between the words and between the lines, shafts of light to light your lives, darts of thought and billows and gusts of love as winds and mists of God. As you close this book, rest in silence that your heart may know its fullness. For you are now reborn a different person. The old person has died. You are new. You are a child. You are an angel child, for you are born of spirit. You have made contact with the Christ of me and of you. And you are from this time forth one with Jesus. You will never again be able to sever this tie, for it is not a tie of earth, but a tie of spirit. For you come to me by your precious choice. As I reached out to you by my choice, I welcome you to me with joy I cannot describe. And I give you my joy, my peace, my blessing, my benediction." Thank you, wonderful Jesus. And now, to help us with that process of being reborn with joy and fulfillment, we have a speaker who has been with the teaching of the inner Christ, I believe, for at least 2 or 3 decades. And she has evolved into a minister, assistant minister of the International Center for the Teaching of the Inner Christ. And she has long ago vowed that she would be a minister. And she became one. That is a manifestation of prayer. And so today she is speaking on spiritual fireworks. Please welcome with me Reverend Elaine Fuller-Zachey.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Think of how we've all evolved, and sometimes it's been with spiritual fireworks. Just a boom of energy. Sometimes it's been, maybe a little softer, a little softer, which is fine too, So, So, think about something that you would call spiritual fireworks. Power, right? It could be power, that spiritual power. Well, what about you? Do you feel power when you're in contact with your inner Christ, with your I am? Do you feel it? Do you feel a surge of energy or a different kind of power than you feel at any other time with this contact? Do you always feel it at this time, or just sometimes, and maybe it's different at different times? Is it lifting? Is it healing? Does it just sort of smooth out the rough edges of your life? Did you feel that power when you first broke through that seemingly real thought barrier of separation from God? Some of us did. Some of us maybe was a little softer, huh? So some of us feel power so dramatically that it is like like fireworks, spiritual fireworks. You know, surges of power can feel almost explosive, as if they burst open something joyful and wonderful and inside us, that just, we could feel that joy in different areas of our bodies. You know, we could just feel it as it goes through, like lightning maybe. We could call this experience cleansing, because it cleans out old thoughts, memories, or beliefs in pain, maybe from an accident, ouch, or disagreement with a loved one or a superior at work, or a disagreement with a police officer. I don't need that one. Or maybe another challenge. The power, that spiritual power is lifting, because it lifts us beyond the pain of untruth into a place of observation, right? With an attitude of, oh, okay, that thing happened, and I learned this and that from it, and then you just go to a place of looking at it and observing it, or maybe you don't even know what it was that you learned, but that you learned something. You could just go on to it. I mean, it's in the past anyway. You can't change anything in the past. So just go on and have a great life. We neutralize it. We can neutralize it with non-judgment, right? Don't judge it as good or bad. It was just a thing that happened, and our inner Christ goes through these things with us and in us and as us, essentially. We can feel a surge of power, of joy with this that is dramatic, or soft and gentle, right? We feel a sense of clarity, of freedom and release from pressures, from worry, from judgment that comes with condemnation. Because there's judgment with deciding, is this the right thing for me to do now or not? But there's also judgment with condemnation. We can let go of that. We don't need to experience that. So I've felt different kinds of spiritual power. Most of mine is a soft, sweet, comfortable kind. Not all of it, but most of it, you know. My first inner contact with Jesus was soft. It was soft. And I was maybe 9 years old. It was entertaining. And I was curious. I didn't think too much of it. It occurred when I was playing in my grandfather's field. I think I was by myself. It just felt normal. Like, it's soft. A soft spiritual fireworks, kind of like a glow, that just kind of lifted me a little. When I meditate, pray, or otherwise spiritually connect now, I usually feel the power. It goes into my body and it goes up. It goes up. Sometimes it moves my shoulders. Sometimes it doesn't. And whatever it does is fine. Some of us experience dramatic spiritual fireworks. I know of a man who had an entirely different experience than my first experience at age 9. During his first inner Christ communication, he had a strange feeling, rush of energy in his body, just whoosh. The inner sensitivity teacher, because he was going through a class, the inner sensitivity teacher guided him to relax and just allow the experience to go on. Just do it. And so his breathing became deep, and the spiritual energy built up until power just shook this man. He laughed. He laughed loudly, and he released old memories and old judgments and old tensions. Then he moved into a deep, peaceful meditation. He had made that contact and gotten his inner Christ name. Good. So he sat, he was quiet, and he was just flooded with love. Flooded with love and joy. Love for everybody and everything, and this changed the man. And if a person from the outside who didn't understand looked, they would think that he was going through pain, but he wasn't. It wasn't painful. It was beautiful to him. So at the teaching of the Inner Christ, or TIC, we call the first Inner Christ contact breaking through. And that's because healing of our false belief of separation from God sometimes takes spirit a lot of energy, since our belief may be very strong. Separation can seem solid, like a wall. So it can be that strong. So I invite you to listen to something I'm going to read to you. It's quite powerful. Listen to it with both ears, Be tuned into sensing the spiritual power in this. Okay, so breathe deeply in and out, and I invite you to close your eyes and just listen. It comes from the book Plato's Gift to Christianity. And Plato's theology is a forerunner of TIC. It has some of the ideas. This is by Jerry Dell Elric, who wrote about Plato. He uses the pronoun he. It meant all of us. Plato wants man to climb the ladder of love's longing all the way to heaven and to see God himself, to stand before the eternal beauty itself, which never fades, never changes, never disappoints, but fills one so deeply and fully that he can never long for the beauties below again. For he has been in the presence of God and has touched the immortality he has longed for. He has become the friend of God. For he has been in the presence of God and has touched the immortality he has longed for. He has become the friend of God. All right. Let's take another deep breath. We can open our eyes. Did you feel that? So the dual force of humanity's desire to be immortal pulls us toward God. And Plato saw this. And God's power pulls on humanity to bring us to God. Think of that in terms of spiritual fireworks. Here is Psalm 119. I'll read that. I found this to be quite beautiful too, quite powerful. It's from Lamsa's translation of the Holy Bible. Thou hast dealt well with thy servant, O Lord, according to thy word. Teach me good judgment, grace, and knowledge, for I have believed thy commandments. Even before I was humbled, I believed, and I kept thy word. Thou art good, O Lord, and doest good. Teach me thy statutes. The injustice of the proud has multiplied, but I keep thy commandments with my whole heart. Their hearts are stubborn, but I keep thy law. It is good for me that I have been humbled, that I might learn thy statutes. The law of thy mouth is better to me than thousands of things of gold and silver. Certainly the author felt fireworks, spiritual fireworks as they wrote this. What about you? When do you feel spiritual fireworks? That energy, that power that starts in you and spreads throughout your body. Huh? Yeah. So when I give a talk, I feel power. It goes through me. My first talk, whoa, it was like an explosion in me. I felt tremendous power. I mean, it wasn't uncomfortable, it was fine, but it was just, I felt like I was a wire. And Reverend Ann Meyer McKeever, founder of Teaching of the Antichrist, was in the audience here. It was a Sunday talk. And when I began my talk, before I even said a word, this electricity started to go through me. I looked at Anne and I didn't know what to do. I said, what do I do with this? And she said, send it out. Send it out. So I did that. Send it out. And it went out to people, to listeners, to whomever, you know. Then I could talk. I could feel it lessening. It was still in me, but I could talk, and I gave my talk. So, in conclusion, spiritual power, we can call it spiritual fireworks when it's really strong, or maybe when it's soft, like one little firework. If you could say firework, I don't know if that's a word, but it means a lot either way. We experience this when we are in conscious contact with God. And here at the Teaching of the Antichrist, we are fortunate that we have direction to do this. You know, I mean, we have advisors and teachers and leaders, and we have direction to do it with our Antichrist I Am guidance, and it can happen so frequently. So I thank you very much for listening. Love and spiritual fireworks to you.
Thank you, you did. You're such a firecracker yourself.
All right.
That was wonderful. It made me remember some of the experiences that I had. And I'm sure everybody else here was thinking too about their spiritual fireworks. Wow, that was great. And so now we get to give that energy, that firework energy, in the offering of tithes and gifts. And for those of you at home, you can do that. You can honor God, and in Malachi, book 3, verse 3 and verse 10, it says, bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. And try now in this, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you such blessing, there will not be room enough to receive it. That's quite a picture. Thank you for supporting the Teaching of the Inner Christ with your love donations. And if you go to the website, all lowercase, no spaces, teachingoftheinnerchrist.org, and click on the very top right-hand corner where it says donations. You can give your love donations there, or you can go by mail to Teaching of the Inner Christ, 1114 North 2nd, S-E-C-O-N-D Street, El Cajon, that's spelled capital E-L and then new word capital C-H-A-O-N, California, and the zip code is 92021. So thank you for your gifts and for your donations. We gratefully accept them if you so choose. And